Today we are going to do a Pablo Picasso violin. It's going to be in the style of Pablo Picasso, so it's quite cubist, which means it's quite cubey. There's lots of different shapes and it's quite abstract, so it doesn't really make sense. So I want to show you, this is the idea, not the work that we're going to do. This is the idea of the type of work he did. So he did lots of different instruments, he did faces, he did loads of colours, he did things that didn't quite make sense. So can you see that things don't quite appear as they normally would? So that face is very different, isn't it? You've got a side profile mixed in with a front profile there. So we're going to do something a bit different today, a bit cool. And Pablo Picasso, write it down if you can on the back of your works. It's nice to remember. So Pablo Picasso, he was Spanish and he was born 1881 and he died in 1973. So he's not alive anymore, but he was really famous. Pretty much everyone knows Pablo Picasso. So I'm going to show you just a little bit of his work. So we have that one there with a lady. And can you see that her face is slightly different, isn't it? She's got a slightly different look. It's not just a normal looking kind of perspective of a face. Then you've got this one here. So it's almost like there's a person in there, but then it could be musical instruments. I'm not quite sure. Do you know what I mean? It's really nice when you look at a picture and think, oh, what is that? Then this one, which is a lady crying. She's got a tissue there. That one's quite tricky because you can't quite tell, but you can tell that she's not happy. So she's not very happy in that one, is she? She's quite upset. And because you see all the lines and all the colours, it's quite fun, isn't it? It's quite nice to create that. So this one's the one that reminds me of what we're doing today. Doesn't really matter which way you put it up almost, does it? But this one's quite cool. It looks like cut out bits of paper, but it's not, it's paintings. And it's all to do with cubist, so it's almost like different shapes. Can you see all the different shapes? That's what we're going to create today with our violin or guitar. So we're going to do a musical instrument. It's based on Pablo Picasso's picture of one. So big piece of paper or small, you want a pencil and you want your paper to be upright. So we're going to start now. It's really easy, this one. I say it's really easy, but it's kind of easy. So we're just going to start off with 2 little lines each side and we're going to create a rectangle. That's all we're doing. Super easy, isn't it? Super easy. Now, if you touch that and float, so take your pencil off the paper and float, get to the bottom, take your pencil off the paper and float. So if you don't know where to float it, don't worry, you're just touching like la 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 la, and then pick your pencil off, float over and go to about here. You can see it when you sort of like look at it. And then we're going to join these up. If it doesn't join up completely, don't worry, just draw a rectangle freehand without sort of looking how you're going to do it. Right, then, super easy, we're just going to do 1, 2. So it's a bit like a B or a number 3, depends how you're looking at the video. Then next to that, it's almost like a bubble writing, isn't it? It reminds me of. Then up here, we've got, and I'm not copying it exactly, I'm doing a variation of it, which means almost identical to the original artwork of Picasso, but slightly my style. But you'll still learn a lot about Picasso and how he shaded, because we're going to do it in our one. So this shape's kind of a weird shape. Doesn't matter if it's coming out strange, it's great. Here, just do a line diagonally, and you're just going to go, oh, I just hurt my elbow there. Then, each side, you want an S, or if you're watching the video a different way, it might be a back to front S. And each end of those, you can do a little bobbly bit. It's kind of easy, isn't it? Like, it looks really easy if you think about it. Then another bit there. So if you think about a guitar or a violin, it's got this thing here. I don't play a musical instrument, so I don't know what it's called. I really want to, actually. And then from here, we're going to do this. We're going to do a line, then you can do 3 long lines going down. So they don't make sense and they're not supposed to. So don't worry if you think, oh, Now here we want to do a line. So you can do a line like that, and you want to do almost like the other side. You want to go just like a B or a number 3, depending on how you're looking at it. Then we're going to do a line here, and then you're just going to continue with the lines. So little line here, leave a gap, little line there, and those are all the lines that you do on the side. It's quite nice to have lots of lines amongst big shapes. Then you're just going to do a line going down. The whole picture's going to be covered, so we're going to do, these are almost like sketchy lines, so you don't need to join them up, it's fine, and you can like overlap them if you like. This one's going to have a line coming out, and don't worry if they're overlapped, they look quite cool. Here we're just going to make up some shapes, so you're going to have a shape there, kind of some shapes there. Here we want to go, don't worry if it looks strange, it's good. And then here, little line. Now what I want to do is add what he added, which was like a kiss. And they're not kisses, but they look like kisses in the picture. And then we want a line there. So if I'm going too fast, that shape that you've done, if you've done it, you want to just do like a roof of a house. We could do a cross there. And then all we need, I might do a little line there. Just one there. So we want this bit up here, you know, the top of a violin or a top of something. We can do a swirl like that. Looks like a question mark almost. And we're going to go out. Oh, like that. It's like the top. So it's like a strange type of violin, but it's abstract. So abstract means it doesn't look real. It's lots of blocks. Doesn't have to be blocks, but it's something that's almost surreal, a bit like what I said about the Salvador Dali one. If you watched that video, that was awesome, that one. Right, now, what I want to do is I'm going to use chalk. Surprise, I love chalk. But I'm going to do it, if you're using watercolour, oil pastel, or paint, you still use the same principle. It's still the same thing. Because what I want to do is, let's have a look. I'm going to choose, I think, my own colours. Just trying to think, where is the picture? Ooh, had a really cool picture there. I'm just bringing up the picture. Ah, cool. Right, so I'm going to copy the picture, because it's nice to copy some of it, because you want to base it on his work. So I'm going to do this red, but what I'm going to do is, if whatever material you have, do not colour all of it in. I'm just going to colour the outline. So I've got chalk, pastel. You could do it with oil pastel, but you're going to then smudge. If it's paint, then you'd paint the whole thing red and then get a dark red to outline it and then smudge it in. So it's just a bit harder, but it still looks amazing. Right, then I want to get, I don't know where all my colours have gone. Do you ever get that, where you kind of lose half of your colours? I'm going to get, I'd say a yellowy colour, a little bit like this, like an orangey yellow. And I'm going to colour just the tops. I'm going to colour the top, I'm going to colour here. So it's like a cubist style work where everything's kind of shaded around but not inside necessarily, depending on the style of what you're doing. This picture's a different size to the original, so I'm going to create more kind of tones and stuff. And the good thing about his work is it's kind of, you smudge it, but you don't have to cover the whole thing. Some of it could be white, so it's fine. You see, if I smudge it, I can do that with oil pastel, and I could do it with chalk. What else could I do it with? I could do it with paint, and I could do it with watercolour pencil, but you wouldn't do it with your finger, you'd do it with your water. So you want to smudge it, you want to make sure things are smudged, and outline it if you need to, because I've got my black pen, which looks awesome. But if you've done it in pencil and you need to outline it at the end with maybe a watercolour pencil or something dark. Don't use pen on chalk because it will ruin your pen. Right, I think it's kind of like a blue, the next one, but I'm going to do purple because I love when it's bright, the colours. Oh, look how awesome that purple is. Right, and then smudge away. This bit's super tricky to smudge because my fingers got a lot of red on from it, from the other one. So when you do smudge or blend, I like to say smudge, blend, doesn't matter, but don't do it this way. If it's a long shape, make sure you do it up and down, otherwise you're going to go over the lines by accident. So that's cool. I'm going to outline stuff in black, I think, at the end. So I'm going to just take a sort of different colours that I like. So I've got this kind of like a purpley light one. I'm just going to put it there. I'm going to choose bits that I want to sort of be that colour. So maybe that. I want maybe that colour to go round. So you want to just take pastels if you've got them. If you don't have pastels, just paint colours what you want. The darkest colours I'll do at the end. So I'm going to take like a brown. Let's take a brown. And I'm going to do that brown. He's got lots of the same pictures that are similar. So if you were to ask your parents, or you could Google it if you're allowed. Might be better to ask your parents. But you can see what kind of pictures he's got, because he has a lot of pictures with musical instruments in them. Okay, I'm liking that. Then we could do a bit there. So now we smudge. Smudge away. So just take your time, do not rush this. You've got loads of time, so just, well, it depends if you're allowed to do it for a long time, but just take your time when you're doing it. And if you don't finish, don't rush it. I would say, I'm going to do a black now. So what I'm going to do is this bit is black. I'm going to do it quite thick, the black, so I want it to show up really nicely. And then I'm going to do that black. Oh, I didn't smudge this, did I? You've got to smudge the background before you put the black everywhere. Otherwise it smudges everything. Now everything else, I'm tempted to keep it white. But I think I'll just colour it a little bit, just so it's not completely white. So I'll do that a bit more. I might go around there. Yeah, but it gets too messy, doesn't it? There we go. Okay, I like that, I think. So everything else I'm going to do black. So I'm going to smudge that. And then we just go round. So we do that, that. I love, oh man, it's not very straight. I like outlining things because they actually look really nice when you smudge them. But you don't do it with everything. But when it's like surrealism or cubism, for me, I quite like to make it stand out. Especially if you've got chalk. You see how it's sort of coming to life now, isn't it? I like leaving some of it white. Woo! There we go. How cool is that? So it's a variation. I'm just going to draw around it like I'm taking it for a walk. So pretend you're walking to school, or anywhere really. and you're just drawing over the lines you've done if it's chalk. If it's not chalk, then you do it differently. You just take your water and go around the watercolour paint if you have to. Woo! Okay, I'm quite liking that. So there we are. Have a go at doing that. You could sign it at the end and use it as part of your school homework, obviously, or schoolwork, depending on if you're doing it in school at the moment or not. Have some fun with it. Add bits that you want to add as well. Like, make sure you add detail. If you're a bit older or you're more confident, you could do some shadow there and just blend it out. So everything that fits together, you could use it to blend. It looks really cool when you do that. So have a go at practicing blending with the oil, with the chalk pastels, and have a go at just finding out different shapes you can create, because it's really fun. And you can sign it at the bottom. Ta-da! So yeah, like, subscribe and share, and let me know what you think. Let me know how you get on.